Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with the International Workers' Day celebration in Lagos, where there has been a mix of celebration and concern as workers gathered at the Mobolaji Johnson Arena to mark the 2025 Workers' Day. Despite a heavy downpour, civil servants turned out in large numbers to honor the day dedicated to the Nigerian workforce. But beyond the festivities, several workers voiced frustrations over rising living conditions and poor infrastructure. News Central's lead correspondent, Bernard Akede, reports.
Another Workers' Day celebration in Lagos, and as always, the Mobolaji Johnson Arena came alive with colors and energy. State civil servants from across ministries and sectors showed up in matching uniforms, waving banners and dancing to music in solidarity. Cheers erupted as the Lagos State Governor arrived, making his way around the stadium. As tradition demands, leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, addressed the gathering, commending the state government for progress made, particularly in the implementation of the new minimum wage.
We appreciate our governor for implementing the new minimum wage of 85,000 naira in Lagos, and also the arrears of the minimum wage has been cleared by Mr. Governor.
We commend the state government for its visible strides in infrastructure, especially the completion of the red and blue rail lines. These initiatives are slowly sticking together.
But amid the applause were voices of dissent. Workers say while the event offers a symbolic gesture, the realities they face daily are far from celebratory.
The reason we celebrate, I will celebrate, is because I'm alive. That's just the reason. But looking at the dynamics of what we are having around us as workers, we may not have any reason to celebrate.
Expectations of workers have not been met, but we are celebrating Workers' Day. It's a historic day for workers all over the world, and we are celebrating it as workers in Nigeria.
The NLC chairman says the moment to call for increased federal allocation to Lagos, citing the state's large population and its economic contribution to the country. Still, for many individual workers, the demands are more personal, ranging from improved infrastructure in work environments to better welfare packages and enhanced purchasing power.
Most times you discover that the housing fund at all, if no workers is even able to even afford the housing the government is creating. So if the employer subsidizes housing, a little bit transport, the life of workers will be okay.
You collect your salary, and before a week or two, you are struggling to work and beg God to help you till the next month. So it's really not a place where people are having peace. You are just struggling here and there to see how you can make ends meet.
We need government to do a good job in terms of ensuring that the salaries of workers actually is able to match and give workers the purchasing power to actually go to the market without having the impact of inflation and also the devaluation of our currencies.
Due to the persistent rain, the governor was unable to deliver a full speech, but he thanked the workers for their resilience and turnout, promising to move next year's celebration to a larger venue. He later observed the ceremonial march past by various unions and civil service groups.
And so ends the 2025 May Day celebration here in Lagos. The governor has asked that the workers see the rain as showers of blessings to help labor grow and not rain to dampen their spirits. The hope, however, is that by this time next year, most of their demands would have been met and their working conditions would have been improved. In Lagos for News Central, Bernard Akede.
Thank you, Bernard. Let's go over now to Kano State, where we understand the government has assured workers in the state that it will continue to ensure transparency and accountability in management of issues bordering on their welfare. This was as members of the Nigerian Labour Congress commended Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf for the timely payment of workers' salaries, prompt promotion of staff, and the settlement of backlogs of gratuity during the Workers' Day celebration in the state. News Center's Emmanuel Bagudu tells us more.
It's Workers' Day in Kano, and the state workforce cannot hide their excitement despite challenges they have experienced in the last few months. The governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, in his Workers' Day address, says that much has been achieved following his drive to improve workers' welfare and ensure transparency and accountability in the management of the process.
We remain consistently committed to ensuring that the entitlements of our civil servants are promptly processed and duly delivered.
He highlighted several wins achieved by his administration since inception.
Kano State is among the very first states to have undertaken a comprehensive review of civil servant salaries. Through deliberate and determined efforts, we have successfully ensured that the new minimum wage for civil servants in Kano State stands at 71,000 naira.
Also, workers from the public and private sectors in the state threw their weight behind his efforts, expressing contentment.
Primary school teachers whom have hitherto been neglected are given priority by His Excellency on promotion and implementation.
I really appreciate very well, and I wish everybody all the best. Ana ce da ma'aikata suke ganawa da shugabanninsu kuma suke faɗa ƙorafinsu kuma gwamnati take ansa musu ƙorafinsu. Wannan rana muhimmiya ce gurin ma'aikaci.
Handling the Nigerian railway project, which is the biggest railway station in Africa. We being handling the project, we are ensuring Nigeria and Africa as a whole that we will finish the project to the due time.
And that passionate expression of being a worker can only be sustained when these workers continue to enjoy conducive working environment. In Kano for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
Meanwhile, the River State chapter of the Nigerian Labour Congress boycotted the annual May Day celebration. They, however, converged on the Secretariat in Port Harcourt to demand the reinstatement of a democratic rule in the state. This action follows the declaration of a state of emergency, which the NLC and other unions have condemned as unconstitutional. The NLC emphasized the importance of democratic governance for workers' rights and welfare. Placards at the rally included messages such as reinstate River State government and we want Governor Fubara back. Let's now turn to Comrade Ogboku Emeka, chairman of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, Federal Ministry of Transportation. Also joining in is Sikiru Wahid, General Secretary, Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation of Civil Service. It's a pleasure to have you both on the news tonight. Let me start with you, comrade. What significance does this International Day hold for Nigerian workers?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on this program. It's a very significant day, and it's a day that we mark the International Workers' Day across the world. And Nigeria not being an exception. It's a great day for Nigeria workers. We are happy to have this day. And it's a day we reflect on the issues of what has gone behind, that is the issue of yesterday, to think of what is happening today. Then that will give us a planning stage of what will happen tomorrow. It's a very great day for Nigeria workers, and I think it's a day to reflect on what has happened in the past, especially within the space of time and the issue of minimum wage. So we're happy to be here today, and we thank God for bringing us to this very great day of International Workers' Day and the solidarity to workers across the Federation and the international world entirely. Thank you very much.
Comrade Wahid, let's talk about the 70,000 naira minimum wage. Labour is still demanding an increment when the implementation of this amount has not been fully actualized. Isn't that a tall dream or an unrealistic demand, considering where we're at a nation?
Yes, thank you very much. The issue of the 70,000 minimum wage, as you can see today, is in a very sorry state. The fact remains that the National Joint Public Negotiating Council negotiated the consequential adjustment, which brings about the issue of the minimum wage. And excuse me, the consequential adjustment is supposed to come out with the differences and the relativity in the salaries as you look at the workers across the federation. But what we're having today is that government is not sincere in its implementation of the minimum wage. We have a haphazard implementation of minimum wage to the extent that what workers are getting does not really commensurate with the negotiation that was actually in place. I was a member of the Joint Negotiating Council that negotiated the minimum wage with the federal government, where you see the National Salaries and Wages Commission there, where you see representative of federal government, where you also see representative from the Accountant General Office and all that. And at the end of the day, we came out with a figure. But what they are paying today does not reflect the figure. And in the process where they even make payment on this minimum wage, you find out that the federal government have introduced a very high tax regime. And this tax regime they introduced has eroded completely what would have been the impact of the minimum wage. Because you find out that it's like giving somebody money or giving somebody something with the right hand and taking it back with the left hand. Because the minimum wage, the content and the intent of the minimum wage has been completely eroded by the introduction of the high tax regime. So for us, we are not happy about it. I don't think there is any Nigerian worker that is really happy with the minimum wage implementation, especially as it is implemented at the federal level. So we call on the government to look at this very matter sincerely. If we are to have a very good industrial harmony in this country, because the costs of transportation, the cost of feeding, and in fact, cost of living has so skyrocketed that the minimum wage does not have impact and does not reflect in a good deal in the pocket of the workers. So these are the spaces, the places that also, yes.
Let's talk about something else. Retirement age. That's one of the subject matter that came up during today's ceremonies across the country. How will this impact the workforce and the economy, and what are the potential benefits and drawbacks of increasing a retirement age? Comrade Emeka.
Today's event marks a very remarkable milestone in the life of workers. If you may recall, the theme of today's event is reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. Workers have to express their opinions. It's really not easy for workers in the economic space of Nigeria today. But we believe and we hope that with what the government is putting in place in terms of workers' welfare, that the future is bright, very bright. But for now, it's really not easy. Because if we look at the minimum wage issues, most of the states have not really started the implementation of the minimum wage, and it's really a very major.
All right, Comrade Wahid, let me come back to you and just try and follow up on your submission on the minimum wage not being enough. The government has over the years said that there has to be a balance between workers' demand and the country's economic realities. How do you reconcile that? And beyond the rhetoric that we hear on such days, is there any actionable plan by the NLC to try and perhaps push the hand of government to review the salaries, the minimum wage rather?
Yeah, thank you very much. If you look at the economic reality based on what they are saying, can you believe that government cannot pay minimum wage of 70,000, looking at the economic reality in itself? looking at the kind of salary they pay themselves at the National Assembly, looking at the kind of salary and the wastage in the federal government activities, the number of personal assistants they have, the wastage in the issue of relating to renovation of houses and how contracts have been inflated, and you want me to believe that they cannot pay 70,000 minimum wage? I can't believe that, because the government itself that is asking the Nigerian workers to look at the issues and go in line with the economic reality, are they also falling in line with that? They are a flamboyant way of living. You can see very clearly how the politicians are milking the economy. And so they are not sacrificing anything, but they want Nigerian workers to sacrifice. I think it's impossible. If you want to do it, everybody will have to sacrifice for the economy to grow. So if it is, but honestly speaking, I don't have any belief in this aspect that the economic reality will not does not fall in line with the minimum wage, the minimum wage. I think that is not it. I don't have that belief.
All right, thank you. Comrade Emeka, let's talk about this year's theme, reclaiming the civic space in the midst of economic hardship. How would you describe the Nigerian worker today in making this a reality?
Yeah, in the midst of economic hardship, Nigerian workers have to still be expressing their opinions. It's really not nice to government. Some of the government policies have not been very fair to Nigerian workers. The inflation has gone so high, so up, that even the so-called minimum wage is not sustainable. It is nothing to write home about. But despite that, we'll continue to express our opinions. We'll continue to express our views. We can't keep quiet. We'll continue to demand that government do more for Nigerian workers to be able to fare better. Because if you look at the situation now, you say you're paying 70,000 naira. What can 70,000 naira do today? 70,000 naira cannot even buy a bag of rice in the market. So it's really not fair. But we'll continue to express our opinion. We'll continue to demand for the government to do better, to do well, so that Nigerian workers can be able to fare better, to fare well, to be able to do well. What the government is doing now is really not it's not the best at the moment. But we have to reclaim the civic space. We can't keep quiet. We're going to demand. We're going to demand for the government to do better, to do something that that will better the life of the average Nigerian worker. Because for now, what we have cannot actually get us really what can take care of the welfare of Nigerian workers. So we'll continue to reclaim the civic space. We'll continue to express. We can't keep quiet. We want to demand. We want to express our opinions. We want to express our views. We want to express our concerns and suggest ways in which things can be done better and in very cordial ways. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for sparing the time to speak with News Central. We appreciate your time and happy Workers' Day.
Thank you very much. Happy Workers' Day. We appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Yeah, have a lovely night. Happy Workers' Day, Nigeria. Thank you.
Let's tell you that the Nigerian Anti-Corruption Watchdog, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has initiated an investigation into alleged discrepancies in the disbursement of student loans under the Nigeria Education Loan Fund, NELFund. The investigation follows recent media reports claiming that 51 tertiary institutions were involved in illegal deductions and exploitation related to the scheme. The implicated institutions allegedly made unauthorized deductions ranging from 3,500 naira to 30,000 naira from students' fees received through the fund. A statement on Thursday by Damola Bakare, ICPC spokesperson, said preliminary findings have revealed a significant gap in the financial records of the disbursement process. He noted that while the federal government also released 100 billion naira for the scheme, only 28.8 billion naira was disbursed to students, leaving an unaccounted sum of 71.2 billion naira. In a swift reaction, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund has refuted allegations of misappropriation and mismanagement of student loan funds, describing them as false and damaging to the integrity of the scheme. Let's bring you our headline story tonight. Residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, were jolted by a series of explosions emanating from the Giwa Army Barracks Armory. The blasts, according to the military, was caused by high temperature, which activated some munitions, sending shock waves throughout the city. My colleague Umaru Kirawa completes the story.
Initially, a confusing situation for residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Series of loud explosions reverberated the city, which began late on the last day of April and continued into the few hours of May.
You know, this thing happening just accidental. Nobody knows where the thing starts. When we hear shooting, we say, from where? Let us listen, so that we listen attentively to hear where the sound of the gun is. Now we are inside barrack. I said, if it's inside barrack, how can we do? Now we have to sleep here. But some of my friends, they run and leave me, according to what I tell you first.
To jiya dai duk muna kwance da daddare dai wasu dai suka fara kira na tun kafin abin yayi nisa, irin ya fara tashi kafin lokacin fire service ma ko mota uku ne suka zo. To wasu dai sun kira ni suna ce mun anya ba hari aka ba, na ce kai ni fa ban sani ba, ni ban ji ma me yake faruwa ba saboda ina bacci. To da na tashin da nayi kenan sai na ji karar abin yana ta karuwa. Dan da muka fito ta cikin gida ma kana tsaye in ka ji irin wani abu ɗaya ya fashe sai kaga kamar ma kanku kawai zai yi.
Eyewitnesses reported seeing thick plumes of smoke rising from the barracks, with debris scattered across nearby neighborhoods.
Rai bundusa lai aulasa hawar fa ya suru barikin nan zare kare ga nazande na shi ma konnu cizawa da nan me na aka yi do awar obatu bade wono am sura ya lo bade ada da an da ga na fu ne na village alan da ne na modani Sudan aulasa aka yi da awar hamzi ishe na man boye.
Sai mun tashi 12:30 ana jama'a mu gudu to ba mu san ma me yake faruwa ba, sai aka ce mana cikin bariki ba lafiya. To mun dauka boko haram ne ma. Sai aka ce a'a sto na kayan yakin su ne ya kama da wuta. To mun ta gudu dai alhamdulillah, amma mun je gaba abun ya sauka. Mun waye ga cikin koshin lafiya alhamdulillah.
The explosion, according to statement issued by the acting deputy director, Army Public Relations Headquarters Theater Command, was due to the current high temperatures in Maiduguri, which led to the explosion of some munitions. The situation has, however, been brought under control with the combined efforts of the federal and Borno State fire services and other fire trucks from security agencies.
The situation is calm, but authorities advise residents to always verify information before sharing it with others, so as to avoid causing panic and tension in the society. From the Giwa Barracks area in Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Let's bring in Umaru now again from Borno to provide more information on the explosion as it happened earlier. Thank you, Kirawa, for helping give us update on what's happening. When you were here last, since you were here last rather, has there been any update from the military as regards the events of earlier today? And has normalcy been truly restored as those respondents said?
Yes, Maiduguri now is peaceful, is calm. Like I've said in the package, people go about their normal day-to-day activities. And the military, the theater commander of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Major General Abdul Salam Abubakar, earlier briefed, issued a broadcast message which we aired and used it on our platform. And the military were very clear with regard to the incident. They said it's the hot weather that led to the explosions to explode at the military barrack, that is Giwa barrack in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, which led to panic and so on and so forth, the tension. But however, the situation now is calm. Everybody is going about its normal day-to-day activities. But the fact is, there has been a call with regard to even the situation of the barrack in within residential area. The member representing Jere Federal Constituency, Satomi Ahmad, who happens to be the chairman of House of Representatives Committee on National Security, he has been very clear with regard to the need for the removal of that barrack from residential area out to a location that is far behind residential area, so that such type of unfortunate incidences will not happen. So the major discussion now in Maiduguri with regard to the issue, and of course even on the social media, Facebook, Twitter, and so on and so forth, is with regard to the need on the government, the federal government, to consider taking that barrack out of that location and taking it maybe outside residential area, so that as the city center continues to expand, more people are building houses, and the barrack usually used to be in the outskirts of Maiduguri, but due to growth and expansion, it turned out to be a residential area, and as such, the call for the movement of that barrack is coming now because of the unfortunate incident that happened yesterday night.
While we are waiting for, relocating the barracks will take a minute, and I'm sure conversations would continue along those lines. But in the meantime, has the military said what they plan to ensure there is no reoccurrence, considering the state's fragile security situation? Those people you interviewed expressed concern and fear that this could have been an attack.
Yes, the military, like I've said, are very clear with regard to their position with regard to the incident. It's an unfortunate incident that has happened. Nobody can question the destiny of what God does, but sometimes investigations are needed to ensure that maybe there are some lapses that really need to be corrected, or maybe it's a disaster that just happened and there is no any other option than for the disaster to happen. Of course, disasters happen without any questions, but really the call for the relocation of the camp from residential area is the major talk of the town and major talk of people on the social media and friends and allies of the state.
For keeping us updated on developments in Borno State. Thank you for staying with us. The Federal Ministry of Works has revealed that the ongoing Lagos-Calaba Coastal Highway project has received the backing of international financiers, signaling its growing appeal as a strategic infrastructure investment and not merely a construction initiative. News Center's Israel Ferubo has the details.
During an inspection, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, disclosed that the first phase of the 700-kilometer project will be completed and inaugurated by May 2025 by President Bola Tinubu, while a full stretch to Calaba is expected to be ready by December.
This commissioning is the first 30 kilometer, and the final commissioning will come in December. And not only this will be finally commissioned in totality, then it will also be flagged off, for tooling by that December by Mr. President. And then, of course, we have some sections in Section 2, to be commissioned.
Commending the pace of construction, Umahi noted the contractor was operating 3 shifts daily, aided by ultra-modern equipment, ensuring timely progress.
We are here at Chanage 17 plus 500, and the other carriageway you're seeing has gotten up to Chanage 20. And recall that we told you in this May that we'll be done with 20 kilometers from Ahmad Bello Way, and today is just 30th of April, So meaning that we are going to surpass 20 kilometers from this site. And at the end of the project, we have done about 10 kilometers coming this way.
Also speaking during the tour, Mr. Danny Aboud, managing director of the construction firm handling the project, expressed full confidence in delivering a world-class highway.
We have already on the westbound carriageway, we are already at 19.5, and it is almost completed to 20. And on the eastbound carriageway, we are at kilometer 18 where we stand now. You can see the concrete that is ongoing.
The Director of Bridges and Highway Design, Mr. Bede Obioha, and the Federal Comptroller of Works in Lagos State, Mrs. Olukorode Kesha, both hailed the project as historic and unprecedented in their decades-long careers.
They are working with an unprecedented pace, and they are not looking for money. They just want to do good work that will outlive them.
This is less than 1 year. We started in April. We are just getting to the 12th month, and we have 20 kilometers dual carriageway on rigid pavement in place.
This route, let me say something, it's been tested internationally because 30% of the route is to be financed by federal government and 70% is to be financed by loan. And it's been exposed to the international financiers. And you can see some of them, we brought them, the Deutsche Bank and then the Development Bank of Southern Africa.
With tolling set to begin by the end of the year, the highway may soon become a model for future infrastructure development across Africa. In Lagos, for News Central, Israel Ifirobo.
Outside Nigeria, thousands of people rallied in Burkina Faso's capital, Ouagadougou, on Wednesday in support of the military leader, Ibrahim Traoré. This is coming few days after an alleged coup attempt in the country and comments by an American official criticizing his leadership. Last week, the West African country's military government said it foiled a major plot to overthrow junta leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, with the army alleging the plotters were based in neighboring Ivory Coast. Crowds of protesters gathered at the Palace de la Revolution in Ouagadougou, chanting, "Long live Captain Traoré," with some holding banners showing a photo of General Langley with the word slave written on his forehead. A new United Nations report has warned that more than 540 people have been killed in Sudan's Darfur region in just 3 weeks. This is as the paramilitary rapid support forces escalate the offensive for control of El Fasher. Meanwhile, in Khartoum, the RSF launched another round of shelling on Thursday, targeting the presidential palace. This marks the second strike on the capital in under a week. The attack, carried out using long-range artillery from Al-Shahla across the White Nile, signals the RSF's closest push towards the palace since government troops retook the city in March. No casualties were immediately reported. Joanne joins me now for some business update. Joanna here. CBEX is boldly back, to use those words.
Yes, it takes some audacity in spite of the scrutiny they are currently under. Apparently, they're introducing new withdrawal terms. So to gain access to a certain percentage of the funds that you had put in, you have to pay a certain fee. I'll bring you the details of that in a moment. Banned digital platform CBEX, operating under the corporate identity of ST, has resumed operations and even introduced new withdrawal terms despite investigations into an alleged 1.3 trillion naira fraud. Sources quoted by Punch and Business Day newspapers say the platform claims to still be operational but with restricted withdrawal conditions. According to those sources, an insurance verification process and an external audit of the company's financial records are currently underway to ascertain the actual amount lost in the scheme, which collapsed in April. It added the investors with $1,000 must pay $100 to access 50% of their funds expected by June 2025. Despite SEC's declaration of CBEX as illegal and the EFCC's ongoing probe, the platform's history of offering 100% returns in 30 days and referral bonuses suggests classic Ponzi scheme traits. And sticking with Ponzi schemes, meanwhile, in a related development, the Securities and Exchange Commission has issued a warning against Toffer.com. SEC says it is an unregistered online investment platform posing as a cryptocurrency trader. In a public notice, the Commission revealed that Toffer operates like a Ponzi scheme, promising unusually high returns depending on referrals to maintain payouts and failing to honor withdrawals. The Commission stressed that Toffer is not licensed to operate in Nigeria's capital market. SEC Director General Emomotimi Agama urged Nigerians to verify platforms before investing and warned that anyone investing in Toffer does so at their own risk. And International Labour Organization's Director General Gilbert Wongbo has called on global policymakers to make decent work, labour rights and inclusive growth key priorities in their economic strategies. Wongbo criticized the fragmented nature of current policy approaches and advocated for integrated macroeconomic strategies centered on employment. On Business Edge, Lekon Obanjo engaged in a discussion with lawyer and public affairs analyst Libros Oshoma, who shared his perspective on the feasibility of prioritizing decent work and labor rights within capitalist economies where profit-driven policies often take precedence over social considerations. And of course, being May Day, the markets are closed. So that's it on Business Tonight. I am Joanna Mustafa. Tonight continues with Felicity.
Sports news is next, and we hear the Flying Eagles are off to a great start. Favor.
Yes, indeed, a flying start for the Flying Eagles, going past Tunisia to begin the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations on a winning note. Many more after this timeout. Nigeria's Flying Eagles kicked off the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a 1-0 win over Tunisia on Wednesday. Awal Ibrahim scored the match winner in the 38th minute, calmly finishing after a pinpoint pass from Emmanuel Okoro. Tunisia started strongly with Khalil Ayari forcing an early block from Nigerian captain Daniel Bamayi. Despite early pressure, Nigeria grew into the game with star striker Parobo Areyi threatening twice. A second-half penalty awarded to Nigeria was overturned after a VAR review denied the Eagles a chance to double the lead. The North Africans battled valiantly for an equalizer, but coach Aliou Zubeiru's side held firm to secure all 3 points. The Flying Eagles next face Morocco on Sunday as they aim to build momentum in the group stage. Still talking football, the National Sports Commission has made provisions for the upfront payment of Super Eagles coach Eric Chell's salary until October as part of efforts to stabilize Nigeria's 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification campaign. NSC Chairman Shehu Diko disclosed that the payment will be handled through a newly established presidential support group created with presidential approval to support the national team's technical and logistical needs. Though the Nigerian Football Federation signed Chell's contract, the NSC-backed initiative is stepping in to ease financial pressure and ensure the coach can focus entirely on preparing the team. According to Diko, the NSC has also funded logistical operations, including chartered flights for fans and new bonus structures for players. To further support the campaign, 3 friendly matches are planned for May and June, while efforts are underway to improve local pitches. And now to table tennis. African table tennis star face Stan Sters at the 2025 ITTF World Championship scheduled for May 17th to 25th in Doha, Qatar. Now, the draw held at the Mall of Qatar unveiled challenging first round matchups for top names like Nigeria's Quadri Aruna and Egypt's Ana Goda. Aruna opens against Brazil's Victor Ishi, while Goda meets New Zealand's Jamua Wu. Other notable African ties include Dina Meshref versus Czechia's Hanna Matelova and Omar Asal facing Croatia's Frank Kojic. Players from Algeria, South Africa, Tunisia, Madagascar and Uganda also face formidable opponents. Now, Doha, which debuted as a World Championship host city in 2004, who staged matches at Lusail Arena and Qatar University. The tournament will see action in the singles, doubles, and mixed doubles events. The English Football Association has officially barred transgender women from participating in women's football in England starting on the 1st of June. The move follows a recent policy review prompted by the UK Supreme Court's ruling that legally defines a woman based on biological sex. Now, previously, transgender women could compete under eligibility criteria, but the FA scrapped that framework, citing a shift in legal and scientific guidance. Now, the governing body acknowledged the decision's impact on affected players and stated it is contacting them to explore other pathways for staying involved in the sport. And now to tennis, American Coco Gauff produced a stunning display to trash four-time French Open champion Iga Swiatek 6-1, 6-1 and reached the final of the Madrid Open. 21-year-old Gauff had never beaten her Polish opponent on clay before, but took just 64 minutes to dispatch the world number 2. Gauff, who won the US Open in 2023, hit 7 aces and won 19 of 21 points on her first serve in a dominant performance. Gauff will play world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka or Elena Svitolina in the final round. Now, reigning champion Swiatek had won 9 consecutive matches in Madrid and 15 of 16 going back to her loss to Sabalenka in 2023 final, but had no answer to Gauff. Congratulations to Coco Gauff, and that wraps it up on Sports Update. And Favor Itwa. Felicity continues with the news.
And always here for some entertainment stories. F1 is making a movie.
Yes, they are. You know, it's all about speed. And yes, they have a lot of celebrities on that one. Brad Pitt is also part of that movie as well, with Lewis Hamilton being one of the producers as well. So you see, they're bringing experience with talent. And the good thing about it is the soundtrack of the movie, some Nigerians are part of that.
Oh.
Yes. But I'm going to be giving you the update shortly.
All right.
Now on entertainment, 4 Nigerian artists, Burna Boy, Daku, Obongaya, and Mr. Easy have been announced as part of the star-studded soundtrack for the upcoming F1 The Movie, joining global artists like Ed Sheeran and Doja Cat. The soundtrack promises a dynamic fusion of genres to match the thrill in Formula One racing. This milestone highlights the rising global influence of Nigerian music, with Burna Boy's Grammy-winning presence, the innovative sound of Daku and Obongaya, and Mr. Easy showcasing the global appeal of Afrobeats and Afrofusion. This is definitely a major win for African music industry. Felicity, I was going to ask you, what do you think about Formula One racing?
I'm not a huge fan.
Why?
Se.
Speed?
I don't know. I'm willing to try most things once, but you see this one, it's risky.
It's risky. So you.
But it looks fun when you're watching it on television and you're not at risk.
Okay. Well, if you say that, it's risky, but like you said, it's always good to try things once.
Yeah.
But let's see, maybe you would do that one of these days. All right. So let's talk about Davido. Davido has announced plans to a joint tour and collaborative EP with American rapper, American R&B singer, I beg your pardon, Chris Brown, set for release in 2026. The two artists, who have recorded over 20 songs together, for those of you who know the track record of Davido and Chris Brown, aim to launch a tour across Africa and Europe alongside the project. Now, Davido explained that the delay was to allow Chris Brown, fully enjoy his success in 2025. He also confirmed his participation in Chris Brown's Breezy Bowl tour, building anticipation for their highly awaited collaboration. So Nigerians are saying this has been long overdue. Davido and Chris Brown, they've been doing songs together, and now a joint EP and a tour. Like, this is the first of its kind ever happening with an African and American, well, a Nigerian and American together. What do you think?
I really love the collaborations that I'm seeing from Nigerian Afrobeat artists and, their foreign counterpart. It's like we're blurring the line when it comes to enjoyment of what music should they.
Yes. And I'm happy that we're not losing our own identity.
No, we're not. That's the beautiful part of it.
Exactly.
We're rather bringing people, what's it now, converting people to the real sound.
Yes. Well, this is big news for Davido and the fans as well, and for Nigeria at large.
Yes,
well, that's all we have on entertainment tonight.
That's all the news we have for you tonight, but not before we bring you a reminder of our top stories. Nigerian workers joined their counterparts across the world to commemorate May Day with demand for improved welfare. Multiple explosions rocked Giwa Army barracks in Maiduguri, causing palpable tension in Borno capital. United Nations decries horrific conditions in Sudan as death toll rises in capital Darfur. Do send us your eyewitness reports to the number now showing on your screen. You can follow us on social media platforms as well at News Central TV. We're live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for your kind attention tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.